All right, good morning again, everyone. It's Nick Petro at the National Weather Service in Raleigh. It's Tuesday morning. It's 11:30. We have ongoing river flooding. In this webinar, we'll address that flooding and any additional rain potential. So jumping right into it, I first wanted to kind of get out of the way what we're expecting weather-wise for the rest of today. And essentially, it's just a matter of just a few scattered showers and thunderstorms. Really not a whole lot of coverage. Maybe, very scattered, just kind of we're getting back to the kind of the normal weather pattern. The remnants of Florence are pretty much gone from our area. They're off the New England coast. So really we're just back into normal weather, and high pressure is building into the west. By tomorrow there'll be 0% chance for rain by tomorrow. High pressure over the area. Dry for Wednesday, dry Thursday, dry Friday, maybe even dry Saturday. There is a next front just trying to slip south late in the weekend, so there could be a few showers, maybe a thunderstorm or two on Sunday, and then maybe into Monday. But again, that's not going to be a big deal. Very scattered, rainfall amounts pretty light. This is from the severe thunderstorm potential from the Storm Prediction Center, and again, just maybe a few non-severe thunderstorms. Again, very scattered or isolated in nature, but not a big deal. I will point out, of course, any thunderstorm is always capable, because it's, as we call it, convective in nature. It's got a lot of rapidly rising air and can build rain pretty efficiently. Any thunderstorm will always be capable of putting down a quick half-inch or maybe an inch, in spots, but that'll be pretty isolated. Otherwise dry Wednesday and Thursday, as I already mentioned. In terms of actual rainfall amounts, you could see the best chance for thunderstorms really is across the eastern half of the state, if you will, today. And again, on average, we're looking at a quarter or a half inch of additional rain, but again, not much more. I mean, in any place that gets more than that would be very isolated in nature associated with thunderstorms. Wednesday, Thursday look dry. Friday, even into Saturday, looks dry. And again, any rain we get late in the weekend and early next week, again, should be pretty patchy, light, scattered in nature. So bottom line here, weather-wise, we're looking good for recovery and good for keeping additional water out of the river system. So the rest of the briefing will focus on the river situation. That's why we're doing these webinars, again, to keep everybody informed of what's going on with the river system. And currently you can see there's just a kind of a text-based summary of the river system. Now, I want to mention that there are some places where the gauges have failed, and we just don't know where they're at right now. So it's hard to predict something that you don't know what the current state of the situation is. So we've seen that at the Haw River, the Little River at Manchester, the gauge failed there. And that alone right there should tell you the magnitude of this event. When the event is so bad that it breaks the gauge, that tells you right there, this is not your ordinary flood. So Rocky River at Norwood, that one's failed. I should have put up in Goldsboro, that one has failed, but we know that's pretty much near Cresting. So, but anyway, here's kind of a timeline. And again, I'm not gonna, to keep this very brief. I know everybody's busy. I don't want to keep you here too long. I've already emailed these slides. So every slide I show you here in this webinar has already been emailed to our email list. It's already posted on our website at weather.gov/Raleigh. So feel free to download the slides and take a look at the river here that it's affecting your area. But what we try to do is look at the forecast, the hydrographs, and put a timeline for when it's going to crest, how high it's going to crest, when's it going to drop below flood stage, and if it already has crested, what was the actual crest. And that's in the fourth from the right column, the actual crest, if it's already done it. So the bottom line is a lot of the rivers in the area are either already have crested or are very close to cresting. So the key thing, though, is it takes a while for the water to empty out. Okay, so that's why some of the forecasts below stage points you see in the fifth from the right column seem like they're later in the week, and they will be in many cases. The Neuse, for example, river, that takes a long time for that to go down and empty out, so that'll be affecting Goldsboro for quite some time, as is the case for Fayetteville. Fayetteville is, the Cape Fear, it's going to take a long time for that to really empty out and come down. So again, lingering longer. On the other hand, the Rocky River at Norwood is more flashy in nature. It goes up very quick, and then generally it comes down fairly fast too. This table, again, I'll let you look at this in more detail on your own. Again, I've already emailed the slides, but just for comparison's sake, how this current event has stacked up against Matthew, Floyd, and Fran. All right, so a quick run through the hydrographs. I wanted to point out that this is a new development since we talked yesterday. But notice yesterday we didn't have the Tar River highlighted, but it looks like there's maybe just enough rain in the basin that it's possible it might hit flood. It looks like it's falling underneath the forecast at this point, and I hope that's the case. You'll notice there is no flood forecast at Rocky Mount or at Tarboro, although it seems like it might get close at Tarboro, but we're keeping our eyes on that. This situation here at Lewisburg seems maybe like that might be a bit overdone. But we're keeping our eye on the Tar River. That's the point I want to make. All right, what about the Neuse River? Unfortunately, Goldsboro, it's failed. The good news is Clayton's on the way down. Smithfield is on the way down. Those have already crested. We're just not sure what's going on, how high it is at Goldsboro, but suffice it to say it's major flooding, and not far from record flooding either. All right, at Cape Fear River, Lillington is already crested and is on the way down. Cape Fear River at Fayetteville is on trajectory to hit our forecast. We've had this forecast 61, 62 feet. We've had this for the last literally 4 days, and it's needed very little adjustment other than adjustment in timing. So this one has actually, is doing what we've been predicting for many days, and this is obviously well below record stage, but certainly above the 61.5 feet is above what happened during Hurricane Matthew. So as is the case at Manchester, this is a record event, and the gauge failed there too. It's so bad, the gauge broke. I have no idea where it's at right now. Honestly, we just don't know how high it is, but it too will take a while to empty out. Assuming we put in an estimated height to simply run the model. So we put in 36 feet as the current to run the model, and even at putting in 36 feet just to get the model to run, you see it's going to take till at least another 48 hours for it to fall below major flood stage. So that's going to be a problem there at Manchester for some time. Yadkin River, thankfully, not as bad as earlier hydrographs were suggesting, so it looks like that's crested and on the way down. And again, we have no idea what's going on. If there's anybody on the webinar right now who is in Stanley or Anson County and can give us an idea of what is going on at the Rocky River at Norwood, if you could type that into the question box and let us know, that would be great. Looking for some feedback about what the Rocky River, it failed at 36.41. But I want to point out, look how steep this hydrograph is. This Rocky River rises very fast. So, it should fall fairly fast. It should fall fairly fast as well. It shouldn't be like some of those other rivers that seem like it takes forever for them to empty out. So we believe it's below flood stage, but if there's anybody on the webinar that can confirm that, that would be helpful. All right, what about some other areas? The Black River, there's obviously some major issues going on at Sampson County. That gauge has also failed. Looks like it's above record as well. Again, some other the two gauges here that I have on here have failed. One at Petey at Blewett Falls, and again, just speaking to the magnitude of the event, certainly it takes a major flood to bust these gauges. All right, the Deep River is it looks like it's got a little bump there, so we may need to adjust this forecast. But the general gist of the Deep River near Moncure is it should gradually overall begin to or fall. All right, so that's the run through of the rivers. Significant river flooding will continue through the week. The good news is there's not a whole lot of additional rain that's expected to get into these basins. Maybe a half inch to an inch of rain in spots thanks to scattered showers and thunderstorms. That's not going to be widespread. Keep that in mind. That's just in the few spots that get a good downpour from a thunderstorm. Dry weather Wednesday through Saturday. And then, like I said, things are going to impacts are going to linger for right through the rest of the week due to the magnitude of the event. But the good news is the weather's going to be good for cleanup otherwise. All right, so that's the summary. We'll do another one of these webinars tomorrow. Tomorrow, same time. We're not going to do one at 5:30. I want to reemphasize that. None at 5:30. The next briefing, that's a little deceiving. So the next set of slides would probably be a more appropriate way to say it. The next slide set emailed by 5:30. That should be that's a better way to put it, because I don't want people to think that there's a webinar. So anyway, that's the deal there. Of course, in the meantime, feel free to call us if you have any questions. And at this point in time, I'll be happy to take any questions if there are any. And that's the end of the webinar.